It's a bellyache minnow, and apparently it was developed as a shad representation. Because when it's tied the way they do it, the belly is really, really thick, and it's all at the front of the fly, so it has that round oval shape like a shad. But anyway, it also works really good for a tui chub, so it's been one of my most productive flies there. And it's heavily weighted, so if you use that in conjunction with a fast sinking line, you can get it down, you know, and you can fish 20, 30 feet no problem. Just count it down a little bit, and it's, like I said, it's been really productive. So anyway, the one that I bought at the Reno Fly Shop, one problem I found with it, it's got a really small hook. And I don't know, that might be maybe an 8, or I don't think it's a 10, but it's pretty small. So I was thinking, you know, I need to tie some of these maybe with a little bigger hook. So I bought a jig hook too. I wanted to try a jig hook with it, and I bought these, which are size 6. So it's an Umpqua. These are Umpqua Tiemcos, same company apparently now, but it's called a streamer hook. Size 6. It's got a 60-degree bend on it for the eye on the jig, and it looks like a pretty good sharp hook. I'm thinking it's going to work pretty well. What you do is you fish it. It's a keeled fly, so it's rides hook point up, which, you know, that's why you're using a jig hook a lot of times too. But you also tie on one of these rib tungsten scud shrimp bodies. And this is a large size here. I'll pass them around. They're really heavy, and they're not that easy to tie on, I found either. I found that the body part was kind of tough because it wants to spin on you and fall off and all that. But it's
made for a curved hook, I think. That's why.
Yeah, it does have a little bit of a curve to it, but not a whole bunch, but enough. So. Again, this one is going to have a rabbit strip wing on it, so you don't want to tie in that weight too close to the eye. You want to give yourself some room to work on that. So I'm going to start about a third back again, and I'm using an olive-colored 140 denier thread. You could use 70 or whatever. You could use white. But I wanted to finish the head olive, so I'm just going to go ahead and use olive thread to start with. I'm going to tie it back here until it starts to bend. Yeah, that's why I sent you the 2 attachments.
Yeah, I hate word.
Yeah, I'm not
okay for
the world's most proficient guy when it comes to computers either. So anyway, it's got these segments tied on it that you can kind of get the thread into, but it wants to fall off of there too. So you really got to kind of hold the thing in place while you get it tied on. And so I'll do some wraps around the body just to kind of anchor it in place.
And that's for the UV cured work. You could put some on there and zap it, hold that thing for you.
Yep. What I ended up doing was putting some Zappa on it after I did some crisscrossing on it, just to keep it from twisting and rolling. Yeah,
that'll work.
And then I'll put a little dam on each end there. But it does want to roll off on you if you get it too hard, so I'll check it, and it's pretty good there.
Like tying on dumbbell eyes.
Yeah.
Got to tie them on tight.
Yeah, they're even a little easier, I think, than using these, but maybe after I do a little more, it'll get easier. So I'll take a little Zappa gap and go ahead and put a little bit on here. Yeah, get it in that groove there. When we were tying in the camper that night up at Pyramid Lake, I was using a lot of the UV stuff, and I was getting a little careless with it. Mitch kept having to reach over and move my tube out of the way before I hit the light on the fly because I was about to destroy my whole tube. But yeah, Zap-A-Gap dries pretty quick. So what they do, and that should be dry enough where my fingers don't stick to it now.
Are you one of these, what do you got there?
This is just some UV ice dub,
Ah, okay.
pearl.
Pearl UV.
And so instead of making a dubbing loop, what he did was he took a hank of it about like so, and he figured about a length and a half on the body again for the tail, and he tied it in right behind the weight, just like that. He got his tail tied in so it's right behind, and I'll pull that a little tighter. Then he stretched this material forward like this and started just wrapping it over the body just to hold it in place. And spin it around, make sure it's kind of covering nice. Till he got to the front of the weight, and then he folded it back again. I pulled some of it off. Tied it over again, and he was using white thread so you wouldn't see it so much, but
You're using that,
we're not done yet. This is olive, and we're still going to dub some on the thread now and spin it back over the body again. So we put the first hank on, pulled it over the weight, tied it in front, pulled it back again.
And the W will cover the top part.
Right, then we're going to go ahead and dub it. Go ahead and leave it big and shaggy. So you will go through quite a bit of ice. Yeah,
This is pretty cheap.
it's $3 a pack or something. And that was another thing too that I noticed, like this Enrico stuff. It's more or less the same thing, and I don't remember what he charged for this package, but I don't know if it's cheaper than buying a bunch of ice dub or not, but
he's not cheaper. He's not cheaper than anything.
yeah,
It's pretty expensive.
it's pretty much premium on his stuff, yeah. Good stuff though, but yeah, not cheap. Just, you know, a lot of times you can find in bargain bins too. I was showing George, I got this stuff here at the Novato Fly Show, and I think this is like $1.50 a package or something. And it's basically the same thing too.
You know who has that kind of stuff? There's a place called the Fly Dungeon on the net. His stuff is cheap, and he sells exactly that kind of stuff. I don't know where he gets it. Probably gets it where these guys get it.
Yeah, I don't know what the commercial, there's got to be a commercial application for this other than fly tying, right?
Like craft stuff. Or
Anything with fly tying they charge 500% or more on, so
Exactly.
you can find it somewhere else cheaper. Okay. Now, but this one here, what I've been doing is just kind of folding it up until it's about maybe ½ an inch long or something, and I'll just tie it in the middle. And I'll fold it back. Tie that down so it doesn't move. Okay, I'll go ahead and clean up all this extra fibers I got going forward. Straggly one there. Okay, at this point you flip it over and you put your wing on. Okay, so you want this pretty much to match the length of your tail. I'm going to trim some of that tail off, but I'm going to say somewhere right about there. So I want my hook to go through it right about that area. And so I'll just take my bodkin and put it in the center there.
Try not to poke your finger.
I noticed a lot of them that I bought, it wasn't centered very well. And another problem that I had with the fly was that after it was used for a while, I don't know if it was because it got wet or what, but the rabbit strip would come off the hook.
It softens up.
And the fly didn't have any good action to it anymore when that thing would pop off. And most of the time I wouldn't even realize it until I wasn't catching a fish for a while and I looked at it and was like, oh no, that's what's going on. So anyway, poke the hook, or make the hole, poke the hook through there, and then you can kind of stretch it tight, get it where you want it, stretch it tight, and then tie it off there and trim it instead of pre-cutting it to length, which seemed like it was a good way to go on that.
Not waste as much either.
Yeah. Well, it just is so much easier to work with. So you do a loose wrap just to kind of see where it's at, if you like that. And then I don't really want to tie a bunch of the hairs down if I can help it, so I'll try to separate it a little bit. Put a couple more wraps on it. I'll tighten it up a little bit, tie it off. So now you just want to build up a little head with your thread here. So you have a foundation for your eyes and a nice little taper in the front. I got a buddy that just started fishing there this year, and he's kind of addicted to it now, so he's been going up there about once or twice a month. But he's a conventional fisherman, so he's throwing spoons and stuff, but they're still catching a lot of fish up there. He just got back last week. I haven't been up since October, but I'd like to get back up there pretty soon.
Yeah, Rob Anderson just put out an email, but he didn't have a fishing report last week.
Yeah, the Reno Fly Shop usually posts something, but I think he's working out of there now. Okay, so it's basically the same process we did with the other flies. You just take these adhesive holographic eyes again.
You haven't come up with a way to keep that tail from backing off the hook?
Well, Mitch told me that if I put it on the hook first and then stretched it forward, made it nice and tight when I tied it in, it might keep it from coming off. But
Because you pulled it past the curve, so you have some
Yeah.
length to get back off.
You'd have to really stretch to get back over.
and now that I'm tying them, I'm not going to be too worried about if one gets too bad. I'll just throw it away and pull
Except
another one out.
Except for the 30 or 40 casts you make before you discover it.
Last year I had 2 really good days. First day I was throwing a clouser all day and I caught about 30 fish on that one fly, and then the next day I changed to one of these and caught just as many fish on one fly all day. Both of them got chewed up really bad, but they were still, so you always hear that, right? The more a fly gets chewed up, the more fish seem to like it. So that was certainly the case. So I'll go ahead and I'll trim some of this stuff off here to try to taper that back and make it about the same length as the tail on the belly. And so that's how the fly rides, with that keel weight in it, plus the rabbit strip on the top and the jig hook, so it's tied in on the top here. It rides just like that, and when it gets wet it looks really nice, just like a minnow, with a dark back and a lighter belly, little red throat on it.